Hi, welcome to the Perfume Preppy, where we talk about all things fragrance. And before we get started today, be sure to click like and subscribe. That way you're notified whenever I upload new fragrance related content. So without further ado, let's get into it. So today I'm going to be talking about Prada Candy, the original fragrance. I know that there's been a few spin-offs and iterations of this fragrance now, but I'm going to be talking about the very first one that came out. It just kind of came on a whim. So a friend of mine, whenever she gets perfume samples, she'll, just kind of be like, hey, I know you like perfume, so here's some to just kind of look at and try out. Which, by the way, shout out to my friend Joanne, I love that. But anyway, so she always, when she gets, perfume samples, she'll just kind of slide them my way. And it occurred to me, I never did Prada Candy, and I think one reason why I hadn't reviewed it as of yet is, if you've seen some of my previous videos, I don't mind a sweet fragrance, but some of them I find to be too sweet. Like the Milk Bar video, or the Milk Bar collab with Bath and Body Works I did a video on a few months back. So sometimes I kind of err on the side of caution. Like, they smell good on other people, but I'm like, ah. So within the samples that she had that she wanted me to try, Prada Candy was in there. And so this is a relatively, I don't want to call it an old fragrance, but it's been out for a little while. So it was introduced in 2011, August 2011 to be specific. And it's an Oriental vanilla scent. Once again, if you watch this channel, you know I'm a vanilla girly. Just about anything that you put with vanilla, I pretty much like, except if it's got just a really heavy note of like patchouli. But even sometimes when blended with patchouli and other scents, I still like it. The nose behind this scent is Daniela Andrier. And so anyway, I'd smelled Prada Candy on other people. I smelled it in, perfumes when they have the little inserts, but I didn't really know if it was for me. I love the packaging. I think the packaging is really pretty. But I just was like, I don't know. So also, if you watch this channel, you know that I always advocate for, if you're not sure how a scent is going to smell on you, and you can't necessarily get a good gauge on it by just, kind of spraying, a tester in a store, I always recommend, once again, this is not a sponsored video, but I always recommend a website called The Perfumed Court. They sell, you can kind of customize what size sample you want. So that way you can kind of wear it for a couple days and see how it works with you, as opposed to buying a full bottle of something and it not agreeing with you. So I always advocate for that. But as I said, so she had a sample, so she was just like, she just slid it my way. And I was like, I never really gave this fragrance, a fair shot. So I'm going to just, try it. And, spring is coming. Well, spring is kind of here. Once again, I live in Michigan. So, spring pops up and then some days it doesn't feel like spring. Like earlier today, it was sunny outside. It's 80. Now it's overcast and gray. So you kind of get what you get. But so I started wearing it and I was like, I like the way it smells in the vial, or in the like tester. We'll just see, in the sample spray. I was like, we'll just see. So I wore it for about 4 days straight, and I was like, oh, this isn't bad. Okay, this actually smells pretty good on me. Because like I said, sometimes I smell things that even though they smell nice, if I find them to be too sweet, I'm just like, I don't know how that's going to break down on me. So I'm actually pretty glad that I did give it a shot. And so now that I've smelled it on me, I think I will commit to a whole bottle. The top notes in it, the top note is caramel, because once again, candy, so that's a great choice. The middle notes are powdery notes and musk. And when you put this on, you can definitely smell the musk, not in a bad way, but it really grounds the fragrance in a way that when it breaks down on you, it's not so sugary. And I think that in some sense that, are leaning towards being more sweet, you kind of have to do that, or else it just gets to be just too sweet and it just doesn't smell good on you. The base notes are benzoin and vanilla. So that's what kind of lends to this fragrance, and it gives it a very sweet and modern scent. Prada Candy you can pretty much find in just about every department store. As I said, it's a relatively older fragrance in that it came out in 2011. But there's a lot of newer iterations, but if you're looking for just this one, you can still find it. It's not discontinued or anything like that. I looked on fragrancenet.com, not sponsored, but probably should be. And so they have 1.6 ounce bottles and 2.7 ounce bottles. And by the way, this is only an eau de parfum. I haven't seen Prada Candy, this original scent, in any eau de toilette or anything like that. I've only seen it in eau de parfum, so to my knowledge, it's only been released. If anybody's seen it, feel free to drop a comment and let me know. But I haven't seen it in those forms. So in the 1.6 ounce on fragrance.net, it's going for $74.99, and then in the 2.7 ounce, it's going for $98.99. So it's pretty reasonably priced for the size bottles. And once again, like I said, this is an eau de parfum. You can look on my channel. I have previous videos where we break down, you know, what that means in terms of consistency and hours that it lasts, things like that. If anybody wants me to, you know, kind of add a refresher video with more, you know, notes, more notes that about perfume that, you know, I may not have touched on, once again, feel free to comment that. I'll be more than happy then to do like a newer updated version of that. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of pop on here and just talk about Prada Candy. I think it's a really good scent for spring. As most people watch this channel know, you know, I like to switch up, and I always suggest that you switch up your fragrances, you know, with the seasons, because there are some that are much more suitable for it, the notes, because, you know, some notes in extreme heat and in body heat, or even spring as it starts to get warmer, it can, you know, as I've said before, cause certain notes to bloom, and it changes the scent a bit. So there are some scents that, you know, I absolutely love for fall, winter, because it's starting to cool off, that I don't wear spring and summer. But I definitely like Prada Candy for spring and summer. Like I said, great scent for women. It smells really nice, but it's very modern, but and it's not too sweet. Like I said, the musk really brings it back down to earth, but it's a very pretty scent. So, you know, I kind of judge this one a little harshly, but, you know, I can definitely see myself buying a bottle of this now that I've had time to kind of wear it and, you know, smell it on me and just kind of see how I felt about it. So I just wanted to pop on here real quick and just, you know, mention that. So if anyone's looking to update their fragrances for spring, I highly recommend Prada Candy for that. So with that, I'll be back next week with another video, and until then, I'll see you. Bye-bye.